So I thought we'd start by letting folks tell you a little bit about the paths that they wound up on, and I asked them to spend a couple of minutes thinking about how the Northeastern experience prepared them, in their view, for these paths.
One of the biggest things I have to say I think I got from Northeastern was because I already knew who I was coming in here. I didn't grow up in law school. Instead, what having this law school did for me was create that comfort of knowing that I'm good who I am, and I'm good going forth in the world doing this kind of work. And there are a lot of people like me who want to use law to create good, to do good and to balance the scales. And so it's been great for my career to have that solid base of knowing that when I go out into any environment that I go into, I'm not alone in my thinking. And I know that there is this base of people here, very intelligent people, who also went out into the world to create change and, do good with their law degrees.
Working for the Swedish government, evaluating doctoral programs in East Africa, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Tanzania, where I feel like my learning curve is so steep I have to keep from falling over. But that's what keeps it exciting, and I think that's what Northeastern launched us to do.
When I think about why the law school was such an incredible institution, at least for me, to be part of, I think it's that the law school creates the conditions for people to come and really figure out who they are, but also what they want to do, what impact they want to have in the world. And it's an unusual law school in that regard.
Paul, tell us what brought you to the United Nations and how you got there.
Oh, okay. It's always,
First
first of all,
you want to start
I thought I had arrived when I had a UN passport, but having a bottle of water with my name on it has humbled me greatly. I had worked and I did business school and it was so blah and the people were blah, but I missed studying. And my father was an attorney, my sister was an attorney, and they all said, oh, you'd make a lousy attorney. So I applied to law school. And I came in here at 26. I'd had some very strong trauma in my life at that point. And I'm like, okay, here's this place. They don't give you letter grades. They try to make people feel included. I'm like, not a bad deal. So I actually started to get my head together while I was studying. And I think the liberal attitude towards co-ops afforded me the opportunity to look inside and say, okay, what do you want to do and how do you want to get there? And I always wanted to work at the UN anyway. So after a year, I drafted these two agreements, which were signed by the Assistant Secretary General. And it was, I think that's the most interesting thing I did, even though I was at a sort of junior level, mid-junior level. And the post was encumbered. He said, I can't keep you, I love you, I can't keep you. You can go to Ethiopia or you can go to Iraq. And this was in 2005, when Iraq was very hot, but not as hot as it is now. And I said, I think I'll go to Iraq. And my mother, was screaming. So I went to Ethiopia.
On day one, we knew zilch about what we were doing. I had very smart colleagues who were equally experienced as I was, which was to say zero. So we hired cleverly Steve Subrin to be our consulting senior partner so we could pretend the first time we showed up at a deposition that we knew what we were doing. And I remember at one of them, Steve taught me how to look bored. I was actually sitting on the edge of my chair ready to die because I didn't know what I was doing. But
I still remember learning IRAC. I don't know if you guys remember that. Issue, rule, application, conclusion. And I still use that today.
Remind me, what does it stand for?
Issue, rule, application,
conclusion.
Okay,
Thank you. Okay.
I still use that to think about how an argument should be organized, whether it's a psychology book, a parenting book, a book about business management, etc. And it's helpful both sort of in the micro sense, and that a paragraph can be organized that way, but so too can a narrative or a polemic.
And I think what I found here was a home in which, as many people have described it with different words, it was completely normal and encouraged to keep climbing out the branch beyond your comfort zone, trying to reach whatever it was when there was a certain serious risk of falling off or it breaking, and sort of living life that way.